du dem ci kanam without paying taxes bu réew mi jëm ci kanam war na ku ne nga fay sa tax bul ko jéema fàtte fay sa tax lu waaye réew la kon def ko misa soxla li ngay fay dépasse réew GRA lu waa moo ko dooleel pour mu fay ko tax GRA mi na kula na mo nyana jola tu kare kana yinal GRA wa mo ko dollar pour mo faire ko tax GRA mi na kula na mo nyana jola tu kare kana yinal tax yu pele ngur gi jël fay ci di sol jaman defar ci tali yi fay ci teacher yi jangal sa domi Chakane ko oga bañ ko fay lu bon ci réew la fayal sa tax dimbale dëkk bi ndax yokkute am fii your taxes go to many places.
Hello viewers, you are watching QTV, the Gambia's first private TV station, and we are broadcasting from our studios here on Kairaba Avenue, right behind the Q-Settlement building. My name is Aliu Sise, and we are back for your weekly, taxpayer education program here on QTV, brought to you by the Gambia Revenue Authority in partnership with the French Development Agency. This program is earmarked to better engage with the taxpayers, to enlighten them on the importance of paying tax, but also the various taxes required to be paid, and of course, what are some of the laws governing tax payment in the country. And today we are looking at, the guidelines for import and export as far as, its relations with tax payment in the country is concerned. And joining me this week, I have Tijan Gai, who is a Custom Officer, Trade Facilitation and International Cooperation. Mr. Gai, good to have you in the program.
Good afternoon, Aliu Sise. Good afternoon to our viewers. My name is Tijan Gai. Like you said, I'm a Customs Officer for Trade Facilitation. We are back, like you said, it's a GRA hour, and it's important that we engage with the taxpayers to enlighten them on the procedures, especially when it comes to customs. We understand that a lot of time importers go through a lot of problems just simply because they don't know the procedure, so they end up paying more than what they're supposed to pay. So that is why we thought it necessary to come here and also, at least for 1 hour or so, whatever we can have to discuss the guidelines for import and export, just to minimize the cost of imports.
It's very important, at least for the bunkers who are in the import and export, to better enlighten about the guidelines. I know Babakar Njai will help on to. Well, also
last time was the key.
Exactly. Also on the program, I have Henry Mendy, Kebama, manager taxpayer education. Why last week the father one? Okay, good. Good to have you. Kebama.
Magi har njasa bina pour bere madi mandiga kam moylal ala barka bake alle al chunde yang QTV bi intil bulola alle ning tijane min kacha angle kaona deba kana sor la le ga ke mandiga kaon yo ala barka bake
Exactly.
What I can do, Manjago, I can do it. I'm very proud to speak Manjago. Anyway.
I know.
Even CG wants to hear Manjago.
Exactly. That's Henry Mendy, manager taxpayer education, and of course Babakar Njai, who is a senior taxpayer education officer. Mr. Njai, you got the last program.
Wow, this gonna say why you tam chain and be nice.
Wow. Mr. Mendy.
Don't mind this one.
No, it's a chain bank sign.
So why la what chain and be nice.
Don't mind this one. Don't mind.
Why Babs say mom yang ba? Man sa Tijan sa num appelé dalay. Hamna tay cameraman war nañ wone dalay after. Wow. Dalay fa ñu gëné ko pour si ji mëna gis dalay ñu mo am né
Thank you very much, Aliou. ñu ngeen nuyu ku nekk rek fu waay mun di seetaane comme niñ ko dee defee every Saturday ñun waa GRA ñoo dee ñëw pour waxtaan ak yéen si wàllum different tax types yi ñoo administre at the GRA. soo bàyyee xel in our past programs wax nañ la ne GRA ñaari operational departments la domestic taxes and customs and excise. Last week liñ doon discussé about rental income mu ngi fall under the domestic tax side. Tey li ñoo discussé guidelines for import and export mu ngi fall si custom side bi. So moo tax nga gis Tijan mu teew. waaw so moom mooy jiite programme bi. because olof yi dañ dee wax ne tungu ne du teew ba pare ñuy nata.
waaw loolu dëgg la
su tungu ne bi teewee rek jarul ñu nataal.
waaw
moom mu ngi araam.
loolu am na solo trop jërëjëf Baboucarr Njie. Well viewers, I mean Setidiane, I will start with you. I mean when you talk about the custom and excise department, I mean what are the functions of this department?
Thank you very much, Aliu. The functions of customs all over the world are basically the same. That is why it's nice to be a customs officer, I always say it. Because once we are a customs officer in the Gambia, when we meet our counterparts in the international platforms, we speak the same language. We speak the same tariff and classification because we use the same tariff.
Because you use your own codings.
We use our own codings. And the codings that we use in the Gambia, don't be surprised, are the same codings everywhere in the world. So the work of customs is basically the same, and the functions of customs also remains the same the world over. And the most important is, you know, mostly when we say customs in our previous programs, we start with revenue collection as the function of customs. But I would want to start with trade facilitation.
Good.
Because I am a trade facilitation officer, and I want to say that revenue is a function of trade facilitation. The amount of revenue we collect at the GRA or every other customs post is dependent on the facilitation of trade. That is to say, how do we make sure the movement of goods in and outside the country is made so easy, so simple, that importers and exporters don't find it any difficult. Because remember, like they say, time is money. Yeah. When you spend time at the ports or at the border post, you spend time there, you spend money. And the businessman, wherever he spends money, he will have to regain the money. So the biggest priority of customs is trade facilitation, to ensure that the movement of goods in and outside the country is made easy. That is why we engage with other stakeholders, the food safety, all the other border agencies, to make sure, you know, the movement of goods is made so easy. And that is also why we did what we call the time release studies. It is a requirement as far as the trade facilitation agreement is concerned. Every signatory of the trade facilitation have to conduct a TRS. Now the purpose of the TRS is basically to understudy your clearance process, to see where time is spent, much time is spent and it's not necessary, like the redundant areas. So as to pinpoint those ones in the process of clearance, to redo your business processes and also cut out the ones that waste a lot of time. So just to show you how important trade facilitation is. So the second one, of course, it's revenue collection. Customs have the responsibility of collecting revenue for the government in the form of import duties. Like he said earlier, GRA has 2 operational departments. When you ask me about tax collections, I don't know anything about those ones. Just to let you know, we collect tax on imports, goods that come inside the country and goods that leave the country. Once they come inside the country, the other taxes that are administered are the function of the income tax department. We also have the responsibility of security. That is why customs is a part of the GRA, is a part of the National Security Council, and that is why we participate in the annual Independence Parade, even though we are the last detachment. Henry doesn't want to hear
that. Chat is the most important. Chat of the four.
And they always impress the crowd.
Yes.
Now the reason customs is part of the National Trade, the National Security Council, is not only because we don't carry guns, but we have a security aspect that is very crucial. We are the frontiers at the borders. What comes in starts with us. What leaves also starts with us. You know, so that is why it is important we are part of the security to open consignments and see what is coming inside the country. Is the food coming in safe? You know, do we have contrabands in consignments? We make sure all these things are in place. They are checked, consignments are checked. When you find some things that has to do with the Drug Enforcement Agency, because we don't have the mandate to investigate drug-related affairs, we hand it over to the Drug Enforcement Agency.
Because you all cooperate as security.
Yes. That is why also in the trade facilitation agreement, there is what is called the coordinated border management. It's also part of trade facilitation. Because when we customs do our responsibilities individually, and then you have to go to immigrations, they do their function, you have to go to all the border agencies, it takes a lot of time. That is why we do coordinated border management. That is why in all our border posts, we have the food safety, we have the phytosanitary in our offices. We sit together. So when consignment comes and it has to do with food, because we are not the competent authority to check the certification of food and all those things, we hand it over to the food safety authorities. If it has to do with drugs, we hand it to the drugs, and until they are satisfied, we release. So just in a gist, these are the 3 important or 3 functions of
just briefly before I bring in Kebama, I mean, when you said, I mean, import and export, what does it mean?
Very good. Imports in the simplest possible term is the goods that are purchased outside the Gambia and coming into the Gambia. It may come through sea, it may come through land, it may come through air. That is why we are SEAL team. We are in sea, we are in air, and we are in land. anywhere there is a border, is an entry and exit point, we are there. So any good that is coming outside the Gambia, inside the Gambia, is what is referred to as import. So export is the direct opposite of it. Goods that are leaving the Gambia going outside other countries. Goods that are made in the Gambia. So Henry would not want me to talk about the codes because in customs, when we say imports, there are different types of imports. When we say exports, also there are different types of exports. But that is for the advanced customs training. We need for
Let me now bring in Kebama. I mean, Yamo Setijane meant for about the functions of the the customs and excise department, talking about revenue collection, trade facilitation, security, and also what do we mean by import and export? I mean, just in Mandinka, if you could summarize this.
Iko custom anyade exercise no?
Exercise.
Kiangol
mumbadi bungol.
No.
Kiangol ka for exercise. Customs and exercise. Mantra exercise that is customs and exercise.
Laba bright ya wala la.
Anna yare ka ngo yare ko na ko exercise le be kene.
Yo ali amole tijanin ali kacha sambada misai. Angin kamuna wolem duan bunda munela dokot. Dati dama ko duañol la do ko dunya be mun kilinet dunya ni mu duaño ti Gambia ise ke no duaño ti lawo dula ba katu do ko be mun kilimol illa kango nyim be mun kilimol ga fo me custom language be mun kilimol so akwa ba dati la minna la do ko follow jama ne ga ka janga fo nam kanyo barate la ta kata la fon la Carol la ba te bol trade facilitation wolem ka safaro sonian bagazol min ka dun ka dun Gambia nin ka fundi pour ka sonian wolem trade facilitation wole la doku folot ni bo doku la namo ka kaniwol so bu ko namo ka soto la ni be o doku ke kan so atela fa ka dati wol andu wo wolem ka jibe ni moy bagazo fe na nyanta ka boje nyaadi junda nyaadile na karango do kele ka fomi TRS time release story ka jibe nim kulungo nata sisi kulungo fulura Gambia poroto janning nyim minta mum bagaso janna ba bondila je ka sambala bitigo aka tiri jalleta o kari jalleta munati naka aka meje so mim malon ko amman kumma ya ngol kuntunga bondiji so oketale anu ngajele ko dol bi jele be ka time do ronde bes mo bondiji so fula nyawolem nam kanimoti kadu ne bagasol dundi fenne be kunna nyada kamin do do ka fole juti so ne wojo ya bo badani ka bondi atandele ko bodato nda maltiji nin kafu nyolle bije mi alon ko tanko bunda fanam bije o masa kunda do ku bunda dol fanam bije so nata fem fe na mumun domoroti janna be dunna nata bodal to na land border mol bije le from food security
FSQ
wolle folo ba jibe la ka jibe foyte o certificate o solo ka dundina ni sontala ko ha ni ase dunno den customs na ya fo nyinjo ya joye de bagaso dun nata fanan borolem medical fengo bije nata drugs lem mi alon ko ya jela bagaso kono National Drug Law Enforcement Agency bije volle le adile bebe office clean ni nata poroto bebe bije SIS bije food security bije drug law enforcement bije forestry bije phytosanitary bije health ibele bije so kado ko ke nyolale wala na ko border management coordinated border management bije wolem nim bundal mi yalon ko bagasta dunano anmi mam fen soto be min folo ibe katara office clean be ka ke do ko ke dula clean na senata den se bagasol bula tan ko nyin ko nga fo nyami kata joran le fe na ni sa do te bulu ke sollem ma fo de maran kido lemba ibadi la police la je ni ko ni certificate ha na IGP le adino pour asa ni ke sol dum de nas sondala den sa custom faransa fo e be nyine jola ya dum so nyine ya do koti sa ali ya nyini ka mulem import and export aka ko import wolem e bagasol min sannam banta ya dundi Gambia wala import bagasol mi alon ko ya do ku Gambia jang e ka funtindi banta kata Sénégal o Guinée Bissau kara dola wala me export ka kumo sutian
abaka bake kebama Henry Mendy léegi dinaa si indi rek nga ne ko moo nekk Baboucarr Njie Baboucarr dégg nga secteur yan mu gaara ci wàllum lan moo nekk taxawaay wala liggéey li nga ne moo nekk customs and excise department I mean waxtaan tam lan moo nekk difference between import ak export so ñu ko mënee tënka rek si kalama olof mbokk nga xam ne ngi seetaan.
waaw jërëjëf Aliou maa ngi jaajëfal Tidiane ak Henry comme ni mu ko waxee rek douane bi Gambia ak douane bi nekk si any other dëkk benn liggéey bi lañ am.
waaw moo tax ñu am seen mbootaay. bu ñu tuddee World Customs Organisation bi.
waaw lii liggéey douane bi Gambia mooy liggéey douane bi America mooy liggéey douane bi Nigeria mooy liggéey douane bi China. so da ngaa gis ne seen fonction si dañ ko xaaj.
yaa nga sa waaj bi ko dafa dem China mu ngi laa wàcc.
te bàyyi di moom mu ngi woon Beijing.
waaw
ñeneen ñoo demoon si àll bi si village yi sax moom mu ngi woon Beijing waaw foofu la daloon.
boy maa ngi serious waaye baal ma serious waaye ok seen liggéey bi ñu ngi ko xaaj si ñetti faana.
waaw
comme que Tidiane moom si trade facilitation faana bi la nekk so mu ne ñëwee ci doxin bi ñu starté ko trade facilitation. soo déggee anglais ñu ne la trade facilitation mooy pour yombal jënda bee jaay bi. you know bii daf lii jógee si biti la di ñëw si réew mi wala lii xew si biir réew mi as far as jënda ak jaay mu ngi am rek bokk na si liggéeyi custom boo xam ne daf ko war a def mu nekk lu yomba suñ ne la lu yomba du affaire price bi waaye waruta am ay jafe-jafe boo xam ne jaaykat yi jëndakat yi dañ koo am si wàllum dugal ak génnee bagage understand nga waaw loolu lañ wax pour mu rataxal diggante bi diggante customs ak ñiy jaay ak ñiy jënda bi nga xam ne pa time bi nga war a spend si wàllum jënda wala wàllum génnee bagage wala dugal waruta jël waxtu dafa war a nekk lu gaaw because léegi-léegi nga indi bagage yoo xam ne su yàggee si naaj bi dina yaaxu xëy na ay fridge la moo war a nekk from container bi dafa war a dem tay rek si fiñ ko dem kuulee so ñoom tam loolu dafa war a bokk seen liggéey bi nga xam ne loolu dina gaaw bi nga xam ne du jël benn time ñaareel bi comme que su trade facilitation bi yombee rek naamu bi tam dafaa yomba da nga gis ne nit ñi dañoo fay fat mu dem.
xam nga businessman wala businesswoman ak time.
waaw
ñoom time lañ dee dawal ñu nekk rek time la.
so moo tax soo demee si business world bi dinañ la wax ne time is money. ne waxtu xaalis la te businessman bi li moo spend si time am yëpp si ñun ñii consume product bi la moo mujjee. because moom du ñaaka. waaw moom du ñaakaat so dina ko fa dugal so da nga gis ne naamu collection boobu nag mu ngi xew si airport bi mu ngi xew si land border bi mu ngi xew si seaport bi. because bagage yi yëpp si ñetti bunta yu la ñoo jaaree ida mu ñëwee si jaww ji nga wàcc si airport bi wala nga ñëwee si géej bi nga wàcc si seaport bi wala nga ñëwee si suuf mooy land bi so di nga dem jaar si any of the border boo mun di duggee di nga fa fekk gaay te liggéey boobu nag ñoom dañ ko dee def ak team du ñoom kenn rek di nga fa fekk police bi di nga fa fekk SIS di nga fa fekk immigration di nga fa fekk drug squad bi FSQ mooy ñi responsible suñu wàllum lekka bi so ñun ñëpp ku nekk da nga am sa liggéey kenn duy def liggéeyi keneen because du wàññi bagage bi foofu la moo njëkkee suñ xoolee ñu gis ne drogue mu ngi si sa bagage bi nañ la jéebal drogue squad bi ko luwaa bi ñoom la dooleel pour ñu doxal loolu dinañ ko doxal.
def mel ne ñoom they work as a team. waaye ku si nekk
am nga sa
am na sa limite.
ku nekk am nga foo em.
am na foo em.
very good
soo ku nekk am na sa cër. am nga sa cër daal.
suñ ñëwee tam amuloo benn kayit buy wone ne sénégalais nga wala malien nga wala Guinée nga. immigration dinañ doxal ak yow. bi ko ñoom ñoo responsible wàllum kayit bi. so liggéey bi noonu la yombee foofu ba léegi tamit si wàllum kaaraange boobu noonu moo tax nga gis ñun dañ dee teg part si independence anniversary bi Tidiane am na iya bu maaje mënu maa remember iya bi waaye moom dina ko remember am na iya bi mu bokkee 2019 am na iya boo xam ne bokk na si ñu represent.
yow bokkoon nga si wala.
non
kii dafa mu lay kati tàng sax
man du ma dee dem si maaj man coach laa dee nekk su gaay waree daw wala suñu waree football so basically loolu mooy liggéey douane bi so ñoom yi dañ dee jàppale wante ak yeneen sister services bi nga xam ne liggéey bi dafa nekk lu yomb Aliou.
loolu am solo ci wàllum.
ok import ba export bi waaw.
pour mu gën a leer
soo déggee import mooy bagage yi ñoo jëlee bitim réew muy ñëw Gambia des na nag ban réew nga ko jëlee maadaama mu ngi jógee si beneen réew di ñëw Gambia rek loolu la ñoo ooyee import so da nga gis ne loolu tam su ñëwee yan kayit nga war a am pour nga mën a am loolu. Tidiane dina ñëw si loolu. because dafa am yoon yu mu war a jaar bi nga war a mën a génnee bagage yooyu noonu su ñëwee su jaaree si port bi. den export tamit mooy opposite bi. bagage yi ñoo liggéeyee fii si géew réew mi nga war koo génnee mu dem bitim réew si réew bu mun di dem nag as far as génn na border Gambia bi rek bitim réew la.
Well, I'm not sure trop about Tijan, let's now look at, the documents. For example, I'm an importer. I've imported some goods into the country. What documents do I need to clear those goods from the customs?
Thank you very much. The documents are not very much.
Okay.
And I just want to highlight that in the word import, there is the word port. So it's something, it is the assumption that something is coming outside the country through the port. That is why the word has import and export. So the documents I am naming are on the assumption that your goods are coming through the port of Banjul or through any other port for as long as customs is concerned. The reason I'm saying this is because the documentation that is required for imports at the port may not be the same documentation that is required for importer who comes through the land borders or through the air. So when we do our business process, we do the business process on the ports, and the documents that we ask you to bring, these are international standard documents, and it is the same all over the world, like I said earlier. So the first one is bill of lading. Bill of lading is a sea transport document, and it is document that is given to you by your sea transporter, your carrier.
Okay.
That is the shipping agency that is bringing your container from outside the Gambia to inside the Gambia through the port. That is the bill of lading. So the bill of lading highlights the ship number, the ship that is bringing your consignment, the container number. You know, the ship is big, it has different containers.
Exactly.
So the containers are marked numbers, and then the contents of the containers are also put in that bill of lading. It also highlights the voyage number, where your consignment is coming through, which country is it passing through, whether it's on transit or it's direct imports. Everything is indicated in the bill of lading. So the bill of lading is number one document that is very important if your goods are coming through the port of Banjul. Now that is why I said earlier, because if you are importing from Senegal, you went to Senegal and you buy a truckload of something and you bring it through Amdalai or Farafenye, because your goods are not coming through sea, we cannot ask you to get a bill of lading, because there is no bill of lading. You are not coming through sea, your consignment is not carried by a shipping agency. So in that case, you will not be asked to bring a bill of lading. But if it is coming through the port of Banjul, you are expected to present a bill of lading. And the second document you need to also bring is a TIN number. You know, today I'm changing the order.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. The reason I'm bringing the TIN number is it's very important in the declaration process. The reason is that the TIN number in the Asikuda system, I think you must have heard about the Asikuda, maybe you know a lot about it. The Asikuda system, the only unique identifier is the TIN number.
Wow.
Yes, the only unique identifier. If, for example, Alusise import goods, how many Alusise do we have in the country? A lot of them.
Maybe we have many of them in Badibu.
Yes, many of them in Badibu and Kiang and Jara and all the other places.
Kiang Jara is Lami. Firstborn is Lami.
It's Lami.
Yes. Firstborn female is
Fatumata. So we have a lot of Alus and Fatumatas. And
exactly.
That is why in the tax system, in every country, in the tax system, there is a unique number, that is the TIN number. And it's the only unique identifier in the Escola system. When you making your declaration, we know this Alusise because of your TIN number. And the TIN number is also important for another reason, tax statistics, the statistical international trade statistics. It is also important for our counterpart department at the income tax. You know, at the end of the year, they charge VAT and all these things, and they get the data from the Asikuda system. And the only way they get the data, they run it through the TIN number. So the TIN number is very important. It's box number 3 or box number 4 in the Asikuda system. So first you bring your goods, box number 1, who is the IM4 or IM5, box number 2, your declarant, that is your clearing agent. The clearing agent's TIN number also needs to be here, and the next box is the TIN number. If you don't have a TIN number, you cannot proceed to the other steps. So that is how important the TIN number is. But also very important in the documentation is, so the TIN number, irrespective of whether or not your goods are coming from the port or airport or land border, you still need a TIN number.
It's important.
It's important. Yeah. And the good thing with the new Asikuda is your TIN number just needs to be inputted in the system once. The system has a very good memory. Yeah. So when you come back and you want to make a declaration, your TIN number will be stored in the system. You don't have to bring the TIN number again. It will be stored in the system. If it is the same LUCC, your TIN number is there once it is input there. So that is very important in the advancement of the Asikuda. So the other document is the manifest. Also very important. You cannot make a declaration without a manifest. But the manifest is not a document that the importer brings to customs or the clearing agent brings to customs. It is a document that is transmitted from the shipping agency to the customs system. So the shipping agency, they have a portal in the Asikuda. We open a window for them in the Asikuda, all the shipping agencies. And 72 hours prior to the arrival of the ship, the manifest is sent from the shipping agency to customs. At least 72 hours before the arrival of your consignment, so that we will have the time to study your manifest and all. And the declaration is built based on the manifest. What is in the manifest is what can be declared. You see how organized the system is. If something is not in the manifest, it cannot be declared. And the manifest is not something that you, the importer or the clearing agent, brings to us, because we understand that maybe you can just go somewhere and change one or two things. So that document is not something that passes through the declarant. It comes from the shipping agency to customs. Of course, you can change it if there is need, but we also make sure the changing process is not a very easy one, because sometimes it becomes a big problem for us. Yeah. So basically, these are the documents. Once you have these documents, you go and get a clearing agent. The clearing agent, of course, if there is any clearing agent watching, maybe they know this process more than me. They know what to do. So you just go and get a clearing agent, present these documents, and the clearing agents will make a declaration for you. That is what we call SAD, single administrative document, and that is what highlights what you have, who you are, where your consignment is coming from, and then the valuation is also done in the system, how much you are supposed to pay, the HS codes, and all those things.
I'm very excited. Sijan is very grounded in this area. Kewama, what are the documents?
If you say Duan Maudo, say no, me go to Soko.
Duan Maudo, not Duan Tokoso. Duan Maudo.
Yeah, Alia Mole, Kachani Sai, the other. Yo, Yanikale Sai, Kite Jamal Gole. And
just Kebama, just hold on. Well, if you are watching and you want to be part of the discussions, or you have any question that you want to ask, you can call on the program. I know the control room will display the numbers that you can call just to be part of the program, because the purpose of this program is also to engage with you, to hear what your thoughts are as far as the topic is concerned. So if you want to call and be part of the program, you can freely call and just ask any question or make any observation or recommendations just to improve our level of tax compliance in the country. Kebama.
Yo budung ay kaytol min fenge nata e bagasol fena Gambia akaka kaytol min tol kumanditeng nata bagasol nata ni Banjul porol kadum demanding difference o bijele demanding nata dara sene bagasol sang yake troko kono nata ni amdalala o nata jiboro o nata farafeng itenyi ni kay dolbi itenyi ni kala no wol bari aka misalo min di wolem na nata nim Banjul poro na seaport mbe Banjul so kaytol yanda kam minul tandi pour isa la bagasol bonnino anu ni ba bonni lebe clearing agent wala nyin la follow ni bagasol nata clearing agent le ba kila no fam kake so follow ako yanda ka bill of lading tandi o bill of lading nak ne bagasol sign China babukar la China Beijing ya dundi kulungo min kono minota mo kulungo mino nyana ka fe itolle bo bill of lading darala ya dila o bill of lading aba tandila itela container nomba munati bagasol kono mune biye kulungo fongo min ba fera to munati abe tambila ni muntol jana futala Banjul andu nabe futala jang wadi mala nyana ka fa bo betan la ning fenko tracking number fanan to kindu nala tracking fenko ka tande ko nyinen container dia ba track la nyame pour kalon alota muntole afutata muntole fa futata yo fula nyawa tata tin number tin domestic tax la ka di andum jorta kunna fenti je bitalale Gambia jam momo saji tani lulu soto rek istano tani sei eta tin number dila dortiye tana domestic tax or tax office be da oda yam fo bas ba kayto dilela ila wulu kayto wala ID card o passport wala sambal gamara driving license fansa mbaw ya automated phone call
biometric
yes biometric lem isa sambalo ne tin soto ni tina kumata bakel na program dol fanga fole tin kumata le Gambia jan ni ma soto be program ko ni ma ID card soto itara banki tela ko do talano so tin nyin ni be la bagasol bondi la fanan tin ila clarine je darbe tino nyin dundila a fangota dun ako ne boxol jibe kilim fula saba o nani nyaw ni mo tin dundi asi kuda wol wolem système mi alon ko be gutsol bagasol bondila no poroto be bagasol samala no ka bondi kambia kata minin porol ni mo tin soto ate dunna no so tin nyin ne batandila nyimu aliuleti nyimu endlet comme ID card o passeport o kata ninyam ite tamala no kata airport kata banku doto passeport o table il faudra je immigration be murundi la so tin faram bole nyam den fula nyaaw saba nyaaw ko manifest o aga bola nang min kuluma min be la bagasol fela nang wala ba kila nang customs ika sen electronically jan tili saba jani la bagasol futala Gambia kuluma futala o kuluma mi alon ko bagasol ba kono minul tam iba kila nang Gambia bari ba senna sikura wo so ni custom yaji ba lona nyimbota ba ko la nyimba gaso bora China nyine ba kono so itol fana be la kiskisiro kila la janning bagaso be futala then I claim to call
that is invoice.
For some reason I forgot what should be the most important document in the declaration
because I just saw Henry jump and I saw you jump.
That is the original invoice.
No, he said he's
changing the format. So
I'm also following what he said.
So he is responsible.
He's responsible.
I was going to ask Tijan about the original invoice.
Let me come to the original invoice.
So if Commissioner General is watching, Tijan is responsible for skipping the invoice.
No, well, Tijan will have still come back to elaborate on that. But I will have asked him about the original invoice.
And I don't know why I skip it or whatever. But the invoice, I mean, all the documents are important, but the invoice is one thing. Even if it, we said how important the TIN number is. If it comes to the worst, in the custom system, in the Asikura, if it comes to the worst, there is what is called the import simplified declaration, where this one is only allowed at the land borders. Remember, like I said, there are different procedures. Just in case somebody comes in and is coming into the Gambia for the first time, you don't expect that person to carry a TIN number. No. Right? So that is why in the system there is what is called the import simplified declaration. You can use that to build a declaration without a TIN number. But the original invoice, irrespective of whatever it is, you have to bring. That's standard. Yeah. And not only invoice, the reason we are emphasizing original, the invoice is the basis. When I have a declaration and give it to the importer, he doesn't look at all the boxes. He only looks at one place. Yeah. That is how much am I supposed to pay. And the invoice determines how much you are supposed to pay. Because in customs, our charges are based on CIF. We charge percentage. A certain percentage of your cost, insurance and freight. A total of all those things. So if you bring an invoice, sometimes people do this because they don't want to pay the right duty. When they bring an invoice, if the invoice is 100,000, because 5% of 100,000 is more than 5% of 20,000. So what they do, they just go and change the invoice of 100,000 to a 50,000 so that they can pay less. So you see, even if you do that, when we detect there are penalties, there are charges.
Yeah, so if you are watching and you have been doing another GRA, they're aware, so take note.
So invoice is absolutely very important.
Kebama, if you could just summarize that and then I move to Babukar.
I try to come out of an for original invoice. Neba gasol sang o risito mindila o katandi yasan nyinena yasan kari le fongo bulkom nitara China nimba ugatara shopping mall China I samatol sa o
there is a market in China. Yes. I'm not sure he has been there. Yes. The foreigners market.
Na sanje
yes I know he must
have been mindiala anyada ko fena manyada ka falinde na Gambia da si kona do afali buga so so kaydo agole tandila ani Gambia jamfang jiare always nga fole ni tara sandiroki afobiti kyo o yasa mimbulo na risito dinna ni woki ikantol fana makwele ni nam jo watu sita so wo yani afole ise fo kayto do labari woni fota la de sonnade hani kaduna na duwa juti mi nyanda ka jo akalaw ka wala jibe ya sanjelle na ya pass jelle ka fena nja ko fo kuluntiyo nyinju
okay
aya in sojalle
exactly ba men si Baboucarr because nga time mu ngey dem Baboucarr just ci kalam olof rek da nga tiyan limu gaara ci wali documents yi nga am yooyu nga soxla pour mun a clear sa bagage ci custom
waaw loolu am na solo Aliou comme dañ ko dee bëgg a leeralal nit ñi
waaw
ñi dee indi bagage muy jaaree si port bi kayit yi nga xam ne yooyu nga war a soxla bi si njëkka mooy li ñoo ooyee bill of lading bi nag mooy wone fan la container bi jógee mooy because gaal moo ko indi dina wone fan la jógee lan moo fa nekka fan mooy final destiny bi ak fan la container bi war a jaar ba egg si Banjul su dee dafa jaar place dina am because container bi tam dafa am nomba boo xam ne moom la ñoo mun a traquer because container yi faa nekk dafa bari yow sa container bi di nga xam sa nomba container bi pour su wàccee di nga xam ne container nomba sangam mooy suma bos so loolu dina fa nekk ba pare turi gaal bi tamit dina fa nekk den parking list bi tamit loolu mooy wane bagage yi nga xam ne moom moo nekk si container bi waaw mboolem loo mun di indi daal loolu dina ko wane te wax na tamit tin number because tin number lu important la Gambia
maa ngi fàttaliku last week maa
ngi ko doon emphasize fii nii waaw ne tin number is very important te dinañ ko emphasize ta tamit soo demee si office bi ñi ngi dee fekk ñu ngi taxawaalu si bunta bi du ñooñu rombal gaay yow waa dëkk bi nga nekkul waa dëkk bi rombal nga duga fekk ji gaay si biir you remember wax naa la ne am na ku ñëw foofu ñu ne ko tin number 150 la waaye mu ne waa ji lan mooy xew mu ne ko noonu ma la ko bëgg a toppatool si nim gën a gaaw
te bu mu duggee within 30 minutes
mu ne ko non xaaral man ma dugga si biir mu dugga si biir mu fekk fa kiw boobu moo tax sa tin number bi jël na ko 30 minutes te free la kii mu ko bëggoon a rabarabal si 2 hours 150 so dañ bëgg a pour mu clair rek ne tin number foo mun di dem si dëkk bi kenn warul la koo charge free la den am na lu ñoo ooyee invoice te invoice boobu noonu original bi lañ dee soxla because li nga indi si invoice charges bi loolu la moo nekk li nga xam ne loolu nga indi si invoice si loolu lañ laa charge Tidiane wax na ko fi ne charges yi mu ngi based on CIF mooy cost insurance ak freight comme di nga gis léegi kii yankay nañ indi invoice yi 100,000 ñu bugg a dem laaxu benn place change ko bugg ko def 50 so ñu ngi laa yëgal ne suñ demee ba di teg ko dinañ ama yow problème because dinañ la fine interest ak penalty dina fa nekk loolu tam benn la si loolu manifeste bi tamit loolu shipping agency bi moo ko yónnee GRA direct customs department bi ñoo responsible loolu dina ñëw si ñoom direct ñoom dinañ xam li fa nekk yëpp so lii yëpp dañ ko soxla soo ko amee rek den li sa process bi dafa yomba doo si am benn jafe-jafe koo dégga mu ne la dem naa GRA pour ma clear suma bagage bi mu ngi jafe kayitam yi ñoo correct wax na la urne kayitam yi moo correct waaye su kayitam yi correcté liñ liste ni yëpp am nga ko mais dañ ko régler si saa si mu génna because loolu tañ custom officer si ñu nekk fa koo dégga mu ne la dem naa fa waaye jël na ma full day wala jël na ma 2 days suma bagage yi génnut rek na la urne kayitam yi moo correct process bi mu jël moo rong dafa bugg a jaar si yooni gannaaw bi pour te yooni gannaaw bi su fa buggee jaar bañ la block dañ la delloowaat back to step 1 nga ñëwaat bi egsi so obviously dina jël time so ñun ñëpp si dëkk bi lañ dëkka ñun ñëpp fii lañ nekk di liggéey suñ jubluwaay bi mooy pour collecte revenue pour government bi custom officer bi du ennemi kenn custom officer bi nekkul fa pour yaaxal liggéey kenn nekkul fa pour tarder kenn liggéeyam foofu mooy mu faciliter trade
te lépp li ñuy def loi moo leen ko dooleel customs and excise ak bu 2010 bi moo leen dooleel loolu noonu yëpp pour ñu mun koo def loolu am na solo trop wa nga lu am solo ci wàllu fay bi am na ñoo xam ne bu dee ku jógee ñoomi la wala badibu nga war a fay 100,000 nga laaxoo bëgg a change 50 nga bëgg ko def 50,000 léegi naa indi Mr. Gueye rek pour mu wax ñu like how do you determine the amount to be paid like how do you assess the consignment
Aliou yaa ngi tooñ kii ñoomi nga la
moom ñoomi la jógee
ñoomi kay duñ dee def loolu
so how do you assess consignment
that is a very big question because it's a mystery to a lot of people and most of the times when we meet people that's the question they ask us how do you determine this is how much I should pay in customs, like I said, we have the World Customs Organization. And the World Customs Organization develop guidelines. I will also want to highlight 99% of the things that we do in customs are not Gambian laws. They are international best practice and they are international laws. So in customs, we have what is called valuation. That is how we determine how much we should pay. It's a long one if I am to explain for everybody to understand because then you will have to understand HS codes. every product, every internationally traded product has a number. Like water, we will not call this water in customs. We call this under chapter 2201 heading 001. That's what you call it. So once you have the correct HS codes, in the system is programmed to understand that water pays 5%, for example, of the CIF. Remember, the CIF is the cost, insurance.
I remember during the peak of the pandemic, it was taken off for rice importers in the country just to bring tomato rice. The price of rice is gone down.
So the cost, that is why we emphasize the invoice, because the cost is the invoice. How much did you buy this water? So the freight, that is the amount of money you paid for this water to leave wherever it is coming from to the Gambia. That is the transport. And the insurance, ships have insurance. So the total of these three things, the cost, the insurance, and the freight, that is why we emphasize you having an original invoice. Now the total of this, there is a percentage. So in the HS, I also want to emphasize that the Gambia is part of the ECOWAS, and the codes and the tariff we use are ECOWAS tariffs. They are not Gambian tariffs. So if anybody tells you customs have increased duty or decreased duty, they are just saying things they don't understand. Because the tariff that we use, the duty that we charge, is one that is determined by ECOWAS. Every product has maybe 5%, some goods pay 5% of the CIF, others pay 10% of the CIF, others pay 20% of the CIF, others pay 35% of the CIF. There are others who don't pay anything, like rice, like cooking oil. These ones are not charged duty. Now when we say duty in customs is just one of the elements. When you bring a consignment into the Gambia, we take the CIF first, then we charge duty. That is the percentage I just talked about. That is determined by ECOWAS. Water, the duty for water, tariff for water is 35%. This is according to the HS, not what I'm saying. It's the HS tariff. 35%. We charge 35% of the CIF. That is the duty. We also charge VAT.
That's the value added tax.
Import value added tax. Different from the VAT. The VAT is transferred, but the import VAT has to be paid at the port. We charge processing fee. That is 1.5% of the same CIF. We also charge eco levy. That is 0.5% of the CIF. We also charge AU levy 0.2% of the CIF.
And processing fee.
And processing fee 1.5%. So the total of these charges is what you will end up paying. So when you say, for example, rice don't pay duty, what it means is that rice does not pay duty, but it pays processing fee. It pays AU levy, it pays eco levy. Why does it pay AU levy and eco levy? Because the AU levy does not belong to us. It does not belong to the Gambia. The eco levy does not belong to it's ECOWAS levy. It's levied, that is levied on all goods coming inside ECOWAS countries. You go to Senegal, you will pay ECOWAS levy. You go to Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, Mali, you will pay ECOWAS levy and you will pay AU levy.
And that's the levy which is used to run the ECOWAS institutions.
Very well.
Exactly. Now, because it does not belong to Gambia customs, it does not belong to the Gambian government, we cannot waive it. What belongs to the Gambian government is the duty and the VAT.
Interesting.
So when you say duty is waived or rice does not pay duty, what is actually waived is duty and VAT. Processing fee is not waived. AU levy is not waived because we don't own it. Eco levy is not waived. So in sum, this is how we do what we do. But just to let them understand, it's just percentage, is simple percentage of the CIF. So even if you have little customs knowledge, prior to the importation of your goods, you should be able to know how much you pay for your goods.
And it's interesting. I remember the last thing they had for the custom officers and clearing agents. I had TG was emphasizing that they should really be grounded as far as, because some people come and just try to manipulate things and just to undervalue certain things that they're supposed to pay. But it's good that when it comes to the ECOWAS levy, the Gambia is really the Gambia is paying. Kebama, just I know time is running out. Yamoy Tijani Memfo in terms of the how do they determine inyanta jelle jola?
Yo, ne bagasul fenam poro nga falele original invoice kumayata back kadum niamo ebe nyine jola ye invoice ology duanyol manyim fenko daday fangoy World Customs Organization wolle adada yalan ko bagas ni aje nombale bala ne jio fenang abe min jola ida kortale ne samatole fena abe min jola ida kortale ni sanolem the same thing fe ko fem bina dunia kono min derata rek nombale bal so sa ni te original invoice o fena ni a dundi ya obatande la ya sanyinnen ya pass nyinnen then they are insurance ñinen olem CIF cost insurance and freight olem transportation so it will d'accord dale dam mal dunia be kone jio fe nang jio nyanda ka ñing percentage le jo kemo keme ñi sidula nam ngama bole jon
ni sa summarize no den si bawkana because we're running out of time
so
quickly
ni te o so fe na bole jibela
bala ñu tagato
ni adunde asikura o ba calculator biko already waya lonne fe ngo fe mbe min jola so a fo be ñine jol wala njuuti ñinti so fana kudol bi je mi alon ko iba jola ECOWAS o bita neo jo abita ECOWAS
and then the AU
EU fana bita sai wo kaytol min fana do kula pour ka fenge ka fo le processing fi yo fana jola o ta duan fengo
Baboucar ci lu gàtt rek xam naa time jaabu nañu waaye soo ko mënee summarize ci kàllaama olof rek.
thank you comme ni ko gars yi waxee liñ dee charge si port bi bagage yi moo tax ñun la original invoice bi dafa important so because charge bi dafa am si ñetti fànn la base mooy cost insurance and freight cost mooy li ngay jëndee bagage bi foofu insurance bi mooy li nga insurance because gaal bi su waree ñëw si géej bi foog nga insurance ko in case of yaara tereeti ko insurance company bi dinañ ko fay freight bi mooy pass bi nga fay pour mu ñëw so charge si loolu la dee base then so da ngay ne juuti bi suñ koo charge foofu la moo base import VAT bi tam di same thing waaye suñ ne la ne bagage bi du fay juuti du fay import VAT loolu Gambia government ñoom ñoo moom loolu mun nañ koo wéef am nañ doole pour wéef ko comme bagage yi nga xam ne yooyu la ñoo lekka lu demee ni ay maalo yu demee ni ay diwlin ay sukur nga xam ne suñ life mënut a dem in the absence of yooyu waaye comme li ñoo ooyee éco levy li ñoo ooyee AU levy loolu da nga ko dee fay because éco levy bi loolu mu ngi dem si account ECOWAS bi waaw lu ndaw la ne nekk 0.2% ngay fay pour éco levy loolu noonu soo gisee mu dem ECOWAS office bi pour ñu mun a doxal réew mi ECOWAS seen bopp la comme for exemple soo bàyyi xel 2016 bi dëkk bi amee problème ECOWAS
comme ni amee économique ni
waaw su doon ñun duñ daan contribute si éco boobu noonu gars yi duñ ko def because xaalis bi ñoo jël pour doxal loolu foofu la moo jógee AU levy bi tam di same thing la so Gambia government amuñ doole si loolu liñ collecte si loolu dañ ko génnee rek mu dem si ñoom seen account bi den central bank yónnee leen ko ñoom ñu doxal so processing fee bi na mooy kayit yi ñoo jël pour duga génna loolu tam foog ñu fay ko den xam naa xëy na next programme bi su ñëwee
loolu laa bëggoon a wax sax parce que xam naa ne waxtaan bi am na solo trop te man saa ñu doon maa ngi jàngal lu bari ci li ngeen nekk di wax ni xam naa ne next week incha allah dinañ continuer topic bi parce que lii lu am solo la xam naa ne am na lu bari lu ñu war a
benn point mu fa lu important loo xam ne suñ ñëwee next week am soo ne Tijaan dina ko indi mooy liñ dee wax ne nga indi bagage si port yi Sénégal bi moo gën a ci port yi Banjul
loolu sax xam naa ne ko gën a leeralal
waaw loolu dina ñëw next week
waaw incha allah
loolu dina ñëw si programme yi next week bi xëj na bii li olof yi dee wax ne li duuf si cin bi di duuf si nag bi yëpp xëjul si cin bi
waaw loolu moo ko nekk well viewers with that we bring an end to this week's edition of your taxpayer education program brought to you by the Gambia Revenue Authority in partnership with the French Development Agency. Our guest this week I had Tijan Guy, who is a custom officer, trade facilitation and international cooperation. Mr. Guy, it was good to have you on the program. And of course, Kebama Henry Mendy, manager, taxpayer education. Mr. Mendy, it was good to have you on the program. And Baboucar Njai, senior tax education officer. Babs, it was good to have you on the program. Well, viewers, with that, we bring an end. Do join us next week. Until then, continue paying your tax for national development. Bye-bye from me and the entire team. Ciao.